Nice's unofficial anthem is Nice la Bella. You can't help but agree with this sentiment when you visit the French Riviera's largest city. Nice's beauty comes from the 19th century mansions on its promenades and boulevards, from the city's Italianate old quarter and the rock's natural terrain that provides countless wondrous vantage points. Artists have always cherished the scenery, rendered even more beautiful by the unique light. So Nice is now also one of the best places to go in Europe for art galleries, with museums dedicated to Chagall and Matisse. Add great cuisine, a perfect climate and more than a dash of Riviera glamour, you've got a very special place. Let's discover some of the best things to do in Nice. You can't avoid Promenade d'Anglais. There are seaside walks and then there's this promenade, which is more than just a grand walkway next to the Mediterranean. It's been an integral part of Nice city life since the embankment was built in the 1820s. With over 7 kilometers long, it's a beautiful place to go for a short walk when you have some time. You will also find some pedal-stone beaches along this promenade. If you walk along the corner to the I Love Nice sign, you will have a beautiful view over the harbour. In this area, next to the boulevard, you will also find Ville. It's the oldest part of the city and the change from Nice's broad boulevards and expensive squares like Place Massena. It's a mesh of alleys with local shops and restaurants, darkened by tall ochre-painted apartment buildings and dominated by the Colline du Chateau to the east. Glaciers, creperies and cafes all flow onto the squares, which are often lively until the early hours. There's a strong Italian feel about the architecture and setting, which is no coincidence, as Nice wasn't French until the Treaty of Turin in 1860. Inside the old town, also don't forget to visit the free Nice cathedral. You might not even realize that this is the city's cathedral. Inside, it's a different story, and the building takes on new dimensions once you step through its doors. It was built in the 17th century with a lavish Baroque design, composed of 10 highly ornate chapels with sculptures, paintings and gilding. Once again, it's the kind of building you would expect to find in Italy or Spain. Towering above the old town and the boulevard, you will find Parc de la Colline de Chateau. In the park at the top of the steep hill on the east side of the city, you will be presented with some of the French Riviera's great panoramas. You can look back over Nice and the Azure Sea in the Baie d'Anglais, and it's a sight you will want to pause over for as long as possible. You can pick out all the landmarks like Hotel Negresco and the port to the east. Be aware, you won't get sunset or sunrise views in summer. The park is open from 8:30 in the morning till 8 in the evening. The sun is already bright at this point. If you manage to climb through the park, why not visit Cours Saleya market? This is also in Nice's old quarter and it has a lovely flower and fresh produce market, which sets up every day except Monday, when it's replaced by a flea market. If you're holidaying in an apartment in Nice, then this market is a godsend, selling fresh produce, regional delicacies like socca made on site and flowers sourced from the province the Alpes-Maritimes countryside. Many sellers will tempt you with free samples, which is an effective way of getting your business. The flower stalls stay open the longest, remaining until 5:30, long after the food sellers have packed up. Beat the tourist rush and get there as early as possible. La coulee verte separates the old town with the newer part of the city. It gives you the opportunity for a nice stroll. Refill your water bottle at one of its taps or let your children play around the playground. In the end, you will reach Place Massena, a grand 19th century city square, a place for street artists to perform and for you to enter Avenue Jean Medecin, the main shopping street of Nice. And if that is still not enough, why don't you take a day trip from Nice? But for that, I would recommend you to watch my video about Côte d'Azur.